and welcome to another episode of Lifting Your Spirits. This time I have a good friend of mine from New Zealand, Ben Smith. He is an artist kind of within the niche of street art, but doesn't solely stick to just producing it on the street. He's also a tattoo artist and gave me my very first ever tattoo. We get on our moral high ground as a couple of white middle-aged guys, but we understand that. I think we talk about how good we are at consuming, not a lot of meat, whilst inadvertently referring to the shepherd's pie we've got in the oven as we're doing the podcast. But hands up, swear to God, it was a vegetarian shepherd's pie. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Podbean, welcome. If you are watching it on YouTube, welcome. And lately I've piled everything onto a website called buymeacoff.ee. There you can see everything that I do. Podcasts, sketches, recipes, photographs, anything to do with the Wandering Barman or comedy in general. And have a flick through, see what you like, and if you want you can buy me a coffee. €3, you can buy me several coffees if you want. So wherever you're listening to it, a link will be in your peripheral vision with the link to buy me a coffee, and feel free to go over there, listen to some stuff and have some fun. In the meantime, enjoy this and thank you very much for listening. To another episode of Lifting Your Spirits, where I show you how to make a banging classic cocktail at home, and then I take that cocktail to my special guest who's waiting on the West Wing. Okay, so I want to show you a classic cocktail today called the Martinez. It's like the godfather of the martini, a very, very old drink. Some lovely gin, some maraschino liqueur, and some nice sweet vermouth, right? But the first thing we want to do is we want to take a little kind of orange peel, and we kind of want to strip like two really thin strips, just like that. And we're going to put them in our stirring glass. And this has got quite an orange flavour to the whole drink, and at the end we're going to put like a nice orange zest, but I want that liquid and the oils to come out and make it nice and fruity, right? Just a little kind of subtle fruitiness on the mouthfeel as I'm stirring the drink. So we need our gin, which is here. And we're going to be generous with this. We're going in 60 mils. So this is a boozy one, people. This is for when you're at the bar and you've just come in and you don't really know what you want to drink. This is the drink that you want. It's going to set you up nicely for the night ahead. So we're then going to come behind that with some nice sweet vermouth, right? 30 mils, half of the amount of gin. And then we're going to use this maraschino liqueur, an Italian cherry liqueur. Now this is very sweet, so you need to be careful. But we only want 15 mils of this, and this is where our fruit is going to come from. The fruit and a bit of the sweetness. The sweetness is going to complement the already sweet vermouth that we've got in there. We've got a little orange in there. And the one thing that we're missing, right, is Angostura bitters. And we're going quite heavy here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how much of the Angostura we're after, right? I want to go in, as always. We need to give it a little taste. Boozy. Boozy with hints of like orange oils and the sweetness of the kind of fortified wine of the vermouth coming through. It's a classic drink, man. It's a classic drink. So now we need our ice. Now, when we're using stirred classic drinks, we want to be careful with how we put the ice in. We don't need to fill it all the way up to the top. And the rule of thumb that I usually follow is to add in the ice so that the liquid just about covers it. And then we can stir, right? Always tasting as you go. It's the only way you're going to know if your drink is good or not. Taste. We're getting there already, man. We're getting there already. Then I want you to add another little bit of ice. And this is going to like cool and properly dilute this drink. Look at the colour. The colour is so beautiful. So see the dilution and see the liquid is just about coming over the ice. That's when we add just one last bit of ice to make everything. Be patient. You don't need to rush things, you know? Okay, this is going to be boozy for my friend. Oh, he's going to love this. Okay, so then we get our nice cocktail glass. Always a nice coupe. Serve up when you're doing a nice Manhattan. And then we just look at the colour. Look at. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful. So there's one thing I want to do to finish that off. I want to give it a nice big zest, okay? So I'm just going to kind of twist and get some oils over that. And then I'm just going to dress it. I want to make it fancy for my friend. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to do a nice little design. I'm going to do a nice little triangle that we can just sit on the glass. If it goes, does it go? Does it go? Nah, it's not going. It's not going. We want it to go. We want it to go. There we go. That's what we're after. So, let's go join our guest in the West Wing. This guest of mine is, a good old friend of mine. Comes all the way from New Zealand, Mr. Ben Smith. Absolutely wonderful artist and a tattoo artist. And here he is to try the Martinez for the first time.
Excuse me, where can I get myself a drink?
So man, how's your Martinez?
It is delicious.
Aye?
Yeah.
It's strong, no? Are you getting the orangey?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But also is that kind of like that cherry comes through as well.
Yeah, man, it is. It does actually it's quite strong. It's nice making drinks for guests because I've done a few of these now, and there's people that want more booze. They don't want to drink the booze at all. Sometimes they get quite sleepy, and sometimes what was the other one? Anyway,
You make a different one for each person.
Yeah.
What is it? You got for the ginger one for the ginger or something?
Totally, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Racist.
Well, like, because the one I done, like, when I done the episode with Jono from Crazy Bastard Sauce, as soon as we finished and we cut, he was like, "So can I have more cocktails?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And like you when you came in, you were like, "I need a cocktail before doing this." So this is your second cocktail, man. I like it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, man. So glad you're here, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down. So, man, we go back.
Yeah.
We've been pals for a while, man. You're always struggle how to describe the art route that you're in. You're like an artist that dabbles in street art, or how would you kind of?
Yeah, I don't know. It was always kind of like there's like illustration, a lot of illustration, a lot of drawing and things like that. But then like the street art kind of drew me in because that was a really good way to start to use what I was doing, and so I ran down that path, and now I'm kind of like going into painting more as well, which has come from doing like the spray painting. And it's character art essentially. Like I like characters, and that's what I want to paint. But I don't want to paint people. Like there's enough people that paint people amazingly.
Or like a landscape or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's true, man. It's like character animation stuff that you do, man. You're on. You've got huge murals around Berlin.
Yeah.
And you've got you're on the hot sauce bottle for Perry's Chicken, is it?
Yeah, I did those this year actually, was it? Yeah, it was this year.
And I'm also fortunate enough to own an original. which is awesome, man. So how do you go from the animation to the spray paint? What's the big... What was kind of some things that you had to overcome to go into that world? Sitting on a tablet or Photoshop or whatever it is you were using, and then like with an actual spray can and doing stuff.
I guess it was that, you know, like it wasn't. I didn't get into the Photoshop stuff and things until a little bit more recently.
So how did you do your animations?
Hand drawn.
Just hand drawn?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, well, I did. I when I went to design school, I did some Flash stuff, and so.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go back.
Yeah.
Some Flash.
Way back.
Yeah.
That shit's not on Chrome anymore now.
I know. Can't even get it.
But so yeah, everything was just like it was analog, you know. But then when I came here and saw like the street art that was everywhere, you know, I was just like, oh, that's cool.
Get
I
on
want
it.
to do that, you know. And I didn't have anyone do it, so I just ran out and started doing it by myself. And then once I started doing the like the street art tours and stuff and doing workshops with it, then that just like boosted my level, and I just kind of kept going with it, you know. Spray cans are super fun to work with once you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I bet they can be.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking loser at it, man. I'll spray something and just get the big drips coming down and shit, and I'm like, oh, well, is that fucked? But yeah, that leads me on to a good point actually, because you're also a tour guide by profession, probably, kind of.
Yeah.
You've been doing it long enough.
Yeah.
You kind of go around Berlin taking groups and all that kind of stuff. What's it like, or do you take group tours? Maybe where there's a painting or some graffiti from you or spray something, or what's it like when, I don't know, would you ever say
across the coast? Yeah, sometimes like it would depend on the group. Sometimes I just would be like, oh yeah, this is this dickhead from New Zealand, you know, like, and just talk about it. And sometimes I would just like mention stuff, and then like later on people are like, oh, we're gonna see any of yours? I'm like, how do you know we haven't?
I like it. Okay.
But no, like there's been a mural in
right. Okay.
in the Schwarzenberg at Hackesmarkt for like over a year now.
Nice.
And so when that was there, it was a good one. I'm quite proud of that one. Did it with a 1000, and so I would take people through into there and be like, yeah, like talk about all the stuff that's there, and be like, yeah, this is mine. Like,
okay,
just
cool.
because I'm quite proud of that one.
And what's the reaction?
A lot of people are super into it. You know, they're like, it is a good piece. Like objectively, it's a good piece,
cool.
And so people are kind of like into it first. You see people taking photos, and you're like, oh, that's good. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that, man. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to go up and be like, so what's your favorite one here? And everyone points to everything else. And you're like, oh, come on.
How does it work with like painting in public? This is a space that is yours, or is it something that you do until it's covered up by someone else?
Normally, that's the way it is.
The latter, yeah.
Yeah. The space, that one there at Haus Schwarzenberg has been up for a really long time. It's actually one of the few things that Corona's been good for. Because we did it in like August of last year. And I was like, oh man, if we make it to like November before anybody paints over it, it'll be winter, it'll stay for the whole of winter kind of thing. And then it made the whole of winter, and then Corona.
Yeah.
And so no one was painting and things. And
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's it like when you're kind of walking past something that you've spent a lot of time on and someone's tagged it? Is that like in the world of graffiti artistry or street art in general, is that just a thing you take on the chin, or is it like, fuck, man?
Personally, I do. Like,
you
I take it on the chin. I don't take
right.
it personally.
You just
like I've got a lot of respect for the graffiti scene, and the whole thing with the graffiti scene is respect, and you have to earn your space. And
yeah,
man. Like you need to you put in the time on the streets to be able to go off and do murals. And these days, there's a lot of people that have come.
So it's like an episode of The Wire.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah, the graffiti scene's deep, man. Like there's a lot to it, more than just like writing your name on the wall and things. I think there's more to the graffiti scene than there is to like say the street art scene. You know, both have got their values. But you know, like I'm super aware that I'm not. Like the first piece of street art I did was, I don't know, like 10 years ago. So I've done bits and pieces, but I've never said that I'm a street artist. I'm an artist who does stuff on the streets sometimes.
Did you do your first art in Berlin? Straight up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did some post-ups.
Do you know what I do love, man? I love scenes. Yeah. I love scenes because they're just really geeky and really nerdy.
Totally.
And I love that.
Yeah.
You know?
They're mad graffiti nerds and stuff as well. Like
whatever, it doesn't matter what scene you're in. You could be in a fucking hairdressing scene and you're just like, check out my new sizzles.
Yeah.
Like rocking out that, have you seen this like new Billy Bob hairstyle?
Yeah, I got some friends who are barbers and they're just like, yeah, check out my new clippers.
Aye. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. Like a comedy scene is super geeky as well, but that's a little bit more like, that can be a bit lame sometimes, you know. You're like sitting out having some drinks and everyone's trying to one up each other on jokes, or they're like, do you know this comedian or whatever, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just need to fucking read
some. Can we just like hang out and talk?
Yeah, totally. Well, I need to watch some Netflix specials before coming out to do a show. So, but it's alright. They're a good bunch.
It's the same everywhere, right? Like if you're in it, you're just kind of like, okay, this is way too much of that one thing that I care about, but not obviously not as much as you do, kind of.
yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. The you kind of went from, where was the kind of, because you're also, well, you were at least like huge into your tattooing.
Yeah.
And you were pretty good, man. You gave me my first ever tattoo, man.
Pop that cherry.
First ever tattoo. And you've tattooed me twice now.
Yeah.
That's true. What was the where was that jump? Where was that connection? Was that just always to do with the illustration stuff?
Yeah, well, like I always drew, but I was always tattooing interested me. I remember like being really young and seeing people with tattoos and just being like, it's like fucking drawing on skin. That's cool,
Right.
But then I don't know, like my parents were quite kind of opposed to it, and I was a good boy, and so it kind of just passed me by for a while. But then when I came over to Europe, I was like, I'd like to get into it. And so I tried and ended up just buying my own gear and just starting with myself. And then became a dirty scratcher.
A dirty scratcher. That's the terminology for someone who doesn't like have a studio and just does it at their home and shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Scratcher.
Right, okay, man.
The most hated person.
Is it?
No, well, yeah, a lot of like, take away from the good people doing really good art and things,
But you're doing really good art. Your tattoo work is banging, man. I mean, it's really, really good.
Thank you. I'm a little bit out of practice now, so I need to get back into it again.
I mean, the stuff that you done for our mutual friend Passoon.
Yeah.
His arms are awesome, man, and they get like all of that attention
when he's on stage.
Yeah, I mean, not even on stage, just when he comes off stage stuff, people are like, your arms, man, cool. It gets like such a good conversation starter, because you can have your sleeves done and stuff, but he's got his sleeves done with your style of this kind of like character animation stuff, and it's really impressive and interesting.
Thanks. Yeah, it's cool when people let you, like, it's an honor when people let you do your stuff,
Yeah.
Like, I ended up kind of like getting. Well, I turned my focus onto the more like paper art, basically, recently, and turned it away from the thing because I was like splitting my attention too much on things. But like doing tattoos for people when it was something that you just don't care about made it really kind of like a bit more of a struggle.
Yeah,
I suppose it's the same with kind of design or anything like that, where you're doing stuff that you're just not really into.
Well, if someone gives you a design, here, can you put that on my skin?
Yeah.
It's not, you don't have the same, there's not the same kind of love or passion behind it as you for your own your own thing.
Yeah.
It's like when it's like the equivalent, I don't know if it's a proper equivalent, but it might be like me doing like maybe a corporate event or something, and I'm like, okay, I've got these cocktails, I've got these jokes, and they're like, can you do like fruit cocktails, and can you not do your joke about like why you hate kids? Can you keep it safe? And I'm like, your price has just bumped up though.
Yeah, exactly. For me not to talk about this.
For me not to talk about it, you kind of, I love edgy stuff, man. That's why like comedians love the Berlin underground scene so much, man.
Yeah. Because
you can just talk about whatever the fuck you want, and you can just go for it, and no one's really that offended. And if they are, you can just be like, beat it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is when someone like goes like, just go nuts. Fucking dope. Do what you want. Like, and I'm just like, cool, I'm gonna try this thing out and things. It's also just like for someone to just be like do what you want. It'll be permanent on my skin forever.
Has that happened though? Someone said just do what you want?
Yeah.
But then you come to them with that design and when they know you, they go, I kind of had an idea that that's roughly what it would be. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there's been a couple of people who, like there was a Kiwi guy years ago who was hanging out and he was basically just like, do my calf, whatever you want. And just basically free-handed onto his calf. It was cool.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Turned out really well as well, Well, that's the thing. It's just like there's no pressure. There's none of that kind of like silly shit. Like when people come to you and like, I want to have these 16 perfect straight lines with a massive circle around it. And you're like,
yeah.
Don't you want to like pay someone who like does this professionally to like do this like absolute perfect thing for you?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Like I say to everybody, I'm like, look, this is not my profession. This is something that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. These
are my limits. I make it really clear. I'm super clean when I do things, that kind of stuff. Like cleaner than some shops, I would say. But yeah, if someone comes to me with something and I'm just like, look, man, you want to get that done, you pay for that shit to get done properly. Like
that's an honourable, like noble scratcher right there. Like that's a noble hashtag noble scratcher.
Yeah,
I like that. Where did you tattoo your first thing? Where?
Right on my knee. Yeah, just at the top of my knee.
What is it?
It's the suits of the card with like a little smiley face in the middle of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever dabble into the scene of the tattoo world in Berlin? Or?
It was partially why I just never got into a shop, to be honest.
But that seems, I have to admit, man, like I know nothing about it really, but I've got a few few tattoo artist friends who are in studios, but I can only imagine that scene is pretty hardcore, because are you a kind of rockabilly tattoo artist? Are you a minimal? Are you this? Do you do Indian ink? Do you do? I bet there's like loads of different ways.
Yeah, and like the people that do that, if like they put in the time and they make like amazing stuff within a certain thing. And I'm kind of more of like a jack of all trades. I like to touch on a lot of different things, I found, I don't know. Particularly, I think now it's a bit different because there are so many tattoo spaces in Berlin. Like there's so many of them. But then earlier on, like I don't know, they're very super cliquey, difficult to get into, and I don't know. I didn't feel kind of like welcome to someone who was super interested in it. And I guess you got to be selective. There's probably a lot of people that were wanting to do it at the time and things. It's blown up like over the last, like massively over the last 15 years.
Massive
tattoos,
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's like comedy.
Yeah, you're like an alternative kid if you don't have any tattoos now.
I know.
Yeah.
I still want sleeves though, man. I need to get some sleeves done. It's just money for me, man. Just I fucking don't have the money,
Well, this is why I don't have any. I haven't had a tattoo in fucking years, except for shit that I've done on myself.
I think the way I paid you for my tattoos was whiskey.
Yeah,
it was, wasn't it?
Maybe that's why I can't afford to get mine. But
at least you. Oh man. Yeah. Okay, listen, man. It's January, and there's a lot of January's for me is quite a kind of. A lot of people get on their pedestal in January. A lot of people go for the ethics, go for the high morals. There's veganuary, there's dry January.
I don't know these things.
You don't know?
No.
So everyone will go vegan for the month of January. Sure. Everyone will be dry, no alcohol for the month of January.
You had sober October. Fuck.
Sober October, dry January or some shit. 2 months of the year where one is sober. Fuck that. And by the way, just pick a month. Don't rhyme it with shit. Yeah. Just if you don't want to drink, don't drink. Don't wait until whatever thing. Anyway,
sober July, mate.
Sober July. So drunk all year round. Yeah. So there's on the kind of notion of high morals and high ethics. I've personally got quite a strong opinion on
wait, let me get my pinky up.
On like children still being born, still being popped out, and I know that you've got we're on a similar vein of thought with this,
Yeah.
Now, can I just give like a kind of a full disclosure kind of thing before we start this?
Yes.
And I would assume that we're on the same level, right? And I am wholeheartedly, fully aware that we're two white middle-aged guys talking about not having kids, right? Yeah. This isn't like
let's
a kind of...
Let's mansplain that shit to them.
Let's mansplain that shit. This isn't a kind of notion of like, oh, women don't have the right to have kids or nothing like that. This isn't about any of that.
No.
It's about people, both sexes, both genders, both whatever the hell it is, all genders kind of going, let's, make more of us.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of both on the same side of the fence where we go, what the fuck is that all about? For me, it's genuinely confusing.
Is it not enough?
Do you have to have one? Can you not buy one? Can you not
shop around?
Just shop around. There's plenty. Can you not adopt one?
Yeah, I mean.
And I would also like to just point out before we do get into this, is that there's a bunch of our friends that do have children.
Yeah.
And I just want to be totally straight up about it. I'm not shitting on anyone in particular.
No.
If at the end of the day, if it's your choice to have a kid, then fine.
Yeah, if you want it, or if it's somehow accidentally thrust upon you and you stick to it.
Yeah, accidentally thrust upon you and stick to it. Fair play.
Yeah.
For me, it's about the active choosing of like having having children. Yeah. I think you can have one. Have one. If you have two, maybe you can convince me, man. Maybe you can convince me that, well, it's like company for the other child.
Yeah, it's like having two dogs, So
I
get lonely.
You're going to have to convince me pretty hard, but you might convince me. If you have 3, 4 or 5 kids...
I mean...
I'm sorry,
sheathe yourself.
I can't take you fucking seriously.
No.
And it's not even about sheathing yourself. It's just about, like, these people are quite happy just to pop out more kids. And it confuses the shit out of me, man. Why?
I mean, yeah, on so many levels, it's just like, I mean, just straight off the bat, like, how are you paying for this shit?
Do you know how much your child costs?
It's like 250 grand.
Yep, like exactly. Yeah. In Northern Europe, between the age of 0 and 16, it costs you 250 grand to have one.
I don't know if I'm going to make that much money.
But the thing is, it's like everything. It's like everything else, though. When you have a child, you'd find a way to get.
Of course, I get that as well. But it's just, I mean, like, I was thinking about Mormons the other day for some reason. And these guys are, like, who have like multiple wives and then like 10 kids and you're like, how are you paying for this?
Yeah.
Like, you guys have got way too much money.
Absolutely.
Like, there's better things you could be spending your money on than just like popping out kids and stuff.
But that's the thing. Like, for me, it's like quite a selfish act because people then go, well, I want to pop out kids. That's my right to do, so I can do it. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, but you're not thinking about the broader picture here. Because I feel that whenever a baby's born, I'm kind of like, there's less fucking air. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, that's just a whole bunch of plastic that's going to get used over the next lifetime of that little person, right? Yeah. Because you can't, but we're bio or fucking, upcycling and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter, right? This is one of the things that gets me about the moral high point of, and the high ethics of like veganism and stuff. Again, you have to do a disclaimer almost whenever you start to get deep into this stuff, man. Veganism is absolutely fantastic, yes. But I think one of the things that are missed within the argument of veganism is that being vegan won't save the world, right? It just won't, man. It's the consumerist values that we have to rid of that whole mentality. That's what will save the world. Yeah. Not eating meat. And having a plant-based diet will help big time, right? But when we are transporting goods from China to the Western world and everything in between, that's what needs to stop, right? You need to buy local, you need all that stuff. So your little child is going to be...
I mean, are you feeding that kid fucking organic, locally sourced stuff constantly? And
for all of its life? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, if you are, then, respect, fucking have your kids.
But, you're going to have to buy a buggy or a pram or some toys at some point, which, quite frankly, one is already that's too much, one is too much. We have to stop down our kind of consumerist values. And that's all that is. As soon as I see a little baby being born, I'm like, well, there's another consumer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing that's kind of...
I guess the argument that people will put forward always is like, yeah, but maybe my kid's going to be the one that, changes the world. And you're like, really though?
Well, this is like this argument of like how selfish it can be again. And how I always, no matter how hard I kind of try and think about or how often and how much we populate the earth these days, that it does always, in one way or another, come down to like pure selfishness and just you wanting what you want to have. And there's an argument where you can go, fair enough. Yeah. Because why shouldn't you? You're a human being walking the face of the planet. We all should be allowed to have whatever we want. But there's when it gets more than what you need, right? That's when I've got a huge issue with it, man. Yeah. Because if you think you need a child and you don't want to adopt, okay, have the child. But why do you need 3 or 4?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a brother. Like, I'm very happy that I have a brother. It was cool. There were apparent parts where it wasn't cool, But that's family, man. Yeah. I've met people who've got like really big families, like sibling groups and stuff like that, and for the most part, they're very happy to have had that. Yeah. But I mean, you're just like, yeah, you guys were like a burden.
Yeah, it's you guys that fucking set up the plastic plantation plants. if you want to call it that, because it's a generational thing. We should be now where we are in this trajectory of life. We should all be kind of realizing, like, is it the right thing to have a child?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, is that as well. Like, I mean, I've had like a really like personal thing with like a breakup, and then she wanted to have kids, and then she's now pregnant and things like that. She's having kids, and like, good for you, I guess. But I mean, like, now, really, like, I mean, particularly with like 2020,
dude,
like,
how can someone be pregnant in the year 2020?
Yeah,
it fathers me. Like, honestly, like, what do they do? Right, they're sitting at the breakfast table and they've got their avocado fucking toast, and they've got their like carrot and celery smoothies, and one's flicking through the paper and it's like Trump and Russian corruption and war in the Middle East and fucking Australia on fire and death and poverty and violence and war and disease. And then
what, darling? I think it's about time that we brought it. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And then
it's a leap in logic that I don't quite grasp.
That's what I don't grasp. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing, is that I personally don't get it, and other people, they've got their things and they're doing it and they love it, and I mean, that's fair enough. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just like, really, like, how do you get to that? Like,
I just don't. Yeah, I know.
Is it like a?
Where's the neurological connections? What is happening in your head?
Exactly. Is it like a hormones thing? Is it that thing where, like, like, people are like, don't you worry, love, once you get there, and to all the women who are just like, I'm not going to have kids, and they're like, don't worry, it'll come. Yeah. And then it eventually does seem to happen. Yeah. And is that like a hormonal thing?
I don't know.
That's kicking in, or like,
because I know a lot of women that don't just outright, they just don't want kids.
Yeah, me too. I've met a lot.
And I'm like, that
like Berlin's kind of maybe like a bubble with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of like alternative, like open, forward thinking as well in Berlin, and you do meet. But that is for me like a really like forward, because that must be really hard for a woman to make that decision. Yeah. Of course, we're a couple of fucking white guys going, oh, let's not have kids. We want to like sit around and fucking drink and do a thing,
Yeah, check your privilege. Yeah.
Check your privilege, Like, I get it. I totally get that. Yeah, sure. So it's really refreshing when like a woman turns around and says that I've made the decision, I'm not going to have kids, because that is like it must be a huge battle of hormonal thing.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like, like, how much does that hormone play like a role? Yeah. Like, I mean, I always like to think that I try my best not to to feel my emotions, but not let them kind of like run me. And similar thing with my hormones. But yeah, then that's going to come through differently, you know, for everybody. I don't know. It's a like I said, it's a leap in logic that
it's a leap in logic that I too find difficult to fathom. But it's the hypocrisy that I don't like. I really struggle with hypocrisy in life. I really do, and you know, I'm the type of person that I don't get involved in other people's business. My way of expressing myself is on the stage or on shit like this, right? Or I would never in my life would I. For example, there's like, you know, and it's happened. I've come in contact with this situation where there's like a vegan talking to me and getting proper high up on her like pedestal about you know how, you know, I'm just doing bad things for the world with the meat consumption and all this kind of stuff, and she's sitting there with like 2 kids, a dog, with her car keys in her hand, and I'm like,
she's having another line of coke.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like you're missing the broader picture here. Like everyone has got their thing that they do to combat, to kind of reduce their carbon footprint. I would say I'm very aware of my carbon footprint, very aware of it. It's definitely one of the reasons I don't have kids. I don't drive. I live alone. That is a huge like one way you can really measure the amount of impact you're having on the planet is just by the amount of rubbish that you take out each week. I live alone, man. I take that bin out once a week. I buy toilet roll once every 4 months.
Yeah.
Oh, no joke. You know.
That was the annoying thing at the beginning of the pandemic. You're like, I just need one.
Yeah. I actually need this. My 4 months is up. I'm clenching here, man. Turtle head and everything. But it's just so strange that this hypocrisy does set in sometimes, and that does enrage me. But never in my life would I just say to that person, I would never butt in. You know, you just keep it for these rants.
Yeah.
But it does affect me in quite a huge way. That, you know, I definitely choose. You know, I still eat meat, but I don't. You know, I'd say in the past 6 months I've probably dropped the ball in the amount of meat that I consume. Because it's fucking dude, you know. But like, honestly, man, I'm sitting. This woman has got her 2 kids with a dog in her car, and I'm like, dude, like honestly, your dog probably consumes more meat than I do in a week.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, like where the fuck are your priorities, man? That's a choice that you made to have that animal, and you know that it eats meat.
Yeah.
You know,
my mum's a vet, and she said that, like, you know, a dog could be vegetarian. You could. A dog could live vegetarian. It's set up like that way. A cat, no chance. Like that thing needs to consume meat.
Interesting.
Thing, you know? The dog is gonna not have as great a time if it's not eating meat, because
there you go.
What does it care about all of this stuff
totally,
that's going on? And it much prefers to eat meat. But yeah, I mean, you know, like.
I mean, it's a valid argument, I would say. I mean, I can't go down it too much, you know, because it's like. Talking of hypocrisy, you know, I'm sitting there bitching out about fucking. I think for me, you know, bitching about, you know, vegan stuff, and then I'm eating meat as if I always say it to, you know, I don't buy I buy heifer milk, and fucking I try my best not to consume as much meat. My big downfall is probably cheese and eggs.
Yeah.
Like I always have eggs in the fridge.
Yeah.
But the way I would love if everyone went on a plant-based diet. The way I describe it to my friend Jono is, you know, when the Titanic's sinking, and I'm the guy, like, if you can imagine, like in the lifeboats are all the vegans, and on the sinking Titanic is all the meat eaters, and I'm the guy getting you on the boats. I'm the guy going, yeah, this is definitely the way to go. And when everyone's on, then I'll get on the boat.
Oh, really? I thought you'd go down.
Go down with the ship. No. I'll get on the boat, man, with you, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more a kind of, that's definitely my own downfall, and I understand the kind of the contradiction. I
get a lot of respect for people who can like live like a vegan diet, because, I mean, obviously, a big part of being a human is that our ability to just get used to stuff, basically, you know, like we adapt and things.
We adapt very quickly.
So, you know, like if I was going to go, if I said, I'm going to go vegan today, I would get used to not having good cheese. I would get used to like all these different kinds of things. And you just get used to it and it becomes normal and things like that. You know? And, you know, I've got a lot of respect for people who are doing that. I personally think that a balance is key.
The balance is key.
I think that this is generally how I tend to live a lot of stuff in my life, is that I need like a balance of everything. Like I am majority vegetarian and I eat meat maybe once a week.
And that's it. It's about the reduction, the reducing of consumption, and that's all it is, man. And I think the
next generation will pick it up and they'll fucking do better with it.
They'll absolutely do better with it, because we as a generation have went through fucking too much change, man. You know, coming up with the internet and then the basically this handheld technology stuff. I mean, that's one generation's worth. Like they're like changing the diet and all that. I want to do it. I totally want to do it. I think the biggest argument that I have is it's all getting back to this whole like dry January, vegan January. It's literally just about people getting on their high horse. It's the people that are like think they're ethically better or morally better and are too judgmental because they don't know that the actions that you take personally to reduce your footprint just because you kind of eat meat or whatever. It's more of just a kind of justification, and there's nothing worse than when you come across someone who's on that high kind of standard and talking down to you, and they're swinging car keys and they're all vegan and local and fucking they're drinking a coconut drink from Thailand. And you're like, you're not getting the broader picture, man, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, that's always the thing, isn't it? Is that you just got to do your own thing and not cast like mad judgment unless somebody's stuff is inflicted upon you, unless their stuff is personally affecting you. Like, I mean, what have you got to say about it, really?
Yeah, totally.
You know? I mean, you know, unless someone's just like driving like a car without the exhaust on and like shitting all over everything, or wandering around without their mask on these days. You gotta get up in their faces.
Yeah, I can't, man. I'm not that confrontational.
No.
Have you said to anyone that's not wearing a mask, even on like the subway and stuff, have you been like, hey, no way? No. You always say to yourself,
like it's the fact is, a lot of it is like younger people who I don't know what the fact is. The fact is that I'm too much of a coward.
Just don't fuck with other people's shit, and you'll be all right. Yeah. Know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, man. Thank you for indulging me in that rant, because
we fear ranted. Well, you fear ranted about it
because I don't, because it's something that I don't understand, you know. And I would love for anyone to get in touch that has children. Tell me what is the best thing about having children. And I just want to reiterate, anyone listening to this that has children, you know, fucking good on you.
Yeah.
You know, fair play.
As long as you're raising those kids properly to become good human beings.
Yes. Don't raise dicks.
Yeah, man. That's all it is. You know, it's like new society. The only rule is don't be a cunt.
Hashtag don't raise a dick.
Yes.
Sponsored by Viagra.
Yeah.
We're sorted, man. We're sorted. So, okay. Is there? There's usually a segment of this program where I kind of like to let you ask me a question.
Yeah.
Did you ever think?
I did. Now I'm slightly drunk and I can't remember.
Oh shit.
A question. Wasn't there like something more specific?
No, it was literally you can. The only thing that was asked was like, you can ask me anything you want. One question, anything you want.
Oh, I did have one. I had one that was slightly more serious and one that was slightly less serious and things. What character would you be in an action film?
In an action film?
Yeah, would you be like, would you be the
IT guy in the background?
Yeah, or would you be like the hero at the start, or you would be the bad guy, or, I kind of personally thought that for myself I'd be like the second dude that's there who kind of like assists in making sure that everything actually happens, doesn't get the goal, maybe gets killed, and nobody really says anything.
So what, I could put that in context, like give me an action movie to go by. Would you be the captain on Lethal Weapon? Or Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah, maybe something. Well, he's too much kind of like he's too much of the comedic relief. I don't know if I'd be that much of the comedic relief.
Okay, are we talking Simon Pegg in the Mission Impossible films?
Is he not the comedic relief as well?
A little bit, but he's like the kind of...
no, but who's the other guy that's there that you just don't remember? That's me.
That's you? Right, okay. Oh God, I think my ego's too big, man. I think I'd probably go for like the fucking proper action guy shit.
Yeah. Crushing things and getting...
Maybe not. Maybe I'd have to go for the comedic guy, but he always dies. Always.
I think Simon Pegg's still alive.
Who? Simon Pegg, yeah.
Joe Pesci didn't die. He got the shit kicked out of him.
He got shot and then was lying on the ice.
But you're black.
Yeah, totally. I don't know, man. I don't know. Good question, though. Yeah, I'd be... Okay, so I'm going to go down the James Bond route.
Yeah.
I'd be M.
M, oh yeah.
I'm going to go with M.
Yeah. Setting the stage.
Setting the scene, getting up there.
Yeah.
Although it would be so much cool, so much cooler to be James Bond, but...
imagine the stress.
Imagine
he's hanging on by his fingernails for.
Yeah, but he's always got it. He's always nailing it. Imagine being M, having that character fucking trying to keep that beast under control, and having to deal with the Prime Minister every 2 minutes.
That's true.
And like kind of
go for Q.
Yeah, Q. I'm not as geeky. I'm not geeky enough for Q.
Me neither.
Controversial. Moneypenny. Maybe a little Moneypenny, like a little secretary there.
Yeah.
Kind of just like throwing the winks at James Bond.
Yeah.
And nothing ever really happens.
It's like a Moneypenny, and that's like you kind of like know of them, but not
and she
really.
gets involved as well in the later
episodes.
Exactly, and the later films of the franchise.
Yeah, totally. You could kind of like picture you as maybe like the Bill Paxton from Alien.
The Bill Paxton from Alien. I'd
game over, man. It's game over.
I'd do Bill Paxton from Alien. Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah.
All right. What character would you be in Armageddon?
Armageddon.
I mean, we're on the kind of middle-aged white man privilege route, so let's pick the most.
With the big black guy.
Big black guy.
No,
I good mama. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It'd be like Ben Affleck.
You'd be Ben Affleck. You would be a big soppy bastard.
Just because I fucking like.
You would be. Yeah, you would be.
That's because my dad has a thing for Liv Tyler, and then I can.
It's a bit of a crying. It's a bit of a crier, that movie. Yeah. Do you ever cry at Armageddon?
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I've been hungover crying my eyeballs out to that shit, man. At the very end, when Ben Affleck, they draw the short straw. Yeah. Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck goes out, he pulls off his patch. Yeah. Give it to what is it? What's her name in the cat? I can't remember.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
I'd be definitely in that one. I'd be Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah.
Because he goes, he goes crazy.
Yeah.
Space insanity. What do they call it? Space madness or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
No, I go for the soppy guy. I'm not particularly soppy, but
you're a bit of a romantic, man. You're a romantic.
I think I'm a hidden romantic.
You're a hidden romantic.
Yeah, it's tucked down there somewhere.
I always say that I'm a bit of a romantic, but not in the sense of like kind of relationshipy. Although I can be, but I'm a romantic in the sense of the world. I've got this kind of this little. Yeah. I sometimes see the world as a bit too romantic sometimes, and that can be sometimes misconstrued into naivety.
Yeah. It's a faith in humanity kind of thing. You're like, man, like the state of things, and these days with the state of things, where you're kind of like, God, the faith in humanity gets tested. But I've definitely got that thing in the end where I was like, nah, man, like we're gonna pull through.
We're gonna pull through.
It's what, like I said earlier, like we adapt, we we move and things, and I think that's kind of like a romanticism that I can get behind. Yeah,
I like that. I like that version of romanticism.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Just before we go, I wanted to ask all my guests towards the end, what kind of strange, if anyone can hear that, that's our shepherd's pie nearly ready.
Nice.
What is the any strange or weird habits that you have?
I've got this thing that it comes and goes, but where I need to add like a little bit more or something. And it comes in all sorts of stuff, like whether it's in my art or whether it's in making a cup of tea. I don't put sugar in my tea anymore, but say the coffee then. I'll do my coffee and I'll put in a bit of sugar, and then I'll just be like a tiny little bit more. And then I put it in and I'm just like, What difference is this making? This is not making any difference.
How much in this second spoonful? How much are we talking?
Like
a pinky nail?
Nothing. Eh?
Yeah. I sometimes do that. Man. Shit. Okay. Yeah.
And I'll do it like I'll pour a drink or something like that, and I'll do my swag of vodka or whatever, and then I'll just be like, yeah, and I'm just like, why am I doing this? This is making, but I guess it's just that's exactly the amount that I need, but. That little bit extra is so unnecessary, but for some reason that just comes through, and I'm like, I need to do that.
I do it only with coffee and tea. Coffee, a little extra pinky nail of coffee. But I wish I'd done that with cooking.
Oh yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm scared of cooking, so I can I don't want to oversalt something or overpepper something or put too much oregano or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you say oregano, by the way? Oregano? Yeah.
It's not oregano.
Oregano. Goddamn oregano, man.
Oregano.
Yeah. Oregano, my thyme, my rosemary.
That's it, cilantro.
Cilantro. Goddamn cilantro, that soapy bitch. Do you get soap when you eat coriander?
No,
I don't
I'm alright with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's a I mean, as far as like a scientific fact thing, that's pretty interesting, that one.
Yeah. The only certain people... I usually do a scientific segment on the thing, but this is going on for a while, so fuck it doesn't even matter. It's weird that some people, just like the chemicals that are in you, you'll either react to it.
It's like the thing that showed up the other year with the dress.
Yeah.
Is it blue and white or gold and whatever colour?
Yeah, totally.
Like I definitely saw it one way, and it's interesting. Like, it's just weird how our chemistries or whatever it is.
Cilantro tasting like soap, or asparagus making your pee smell and shit.
My pee does smell after
does
asparagus, definitely.
Like sugar puffs?
Burnt tyres.
Burnt tyres?
Yeah, man. Burnt rubber,
Burnt rubber?
That's what
okay,
always
man.
something that I heard.
Yeah?
Maybe it just smells like that because someone told me it. I don't know.
And then you get, it's kind of implanted there.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, man. Well, I can't think of a better time to end than toilet humour. I mean, it's got to be.
Peas,
it's got to be. Do tell the people just before you go how they can follow you or see your wonderful artwork.
So you can hit me up on Instagram, which would be the best thing, which is at Bulky Savage. My website is justmorebs.com. That's the Bulky Savage. Once things open up again, then you can come through to Let It Bleed, which is the little kind of gallery art shop space that I'm running in a collective with some people, which is down on Oranienstrasse.
Yes, close to Koppisator. It's classic.
Good spot.
It's a good spot.
Lots of fantastic local artists, not just myself, but we've got about 30 different artists there. Definitely worth a view.
Yeah, nice. Alright, man. All the links will be available in descriptions, as well as recipes for drinks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. We'll see you again.
Like and subscribe.